Hey, good morning. It's P Dog Night. Didn't realize I'm already on here. Hey, um, I'm running a little late today because I'm down to one vehicle. My truck is dead. And so I had to drive my wife to work today and I'm going to use her vehicle today. It just figures immediately after my truck hits 300,000 miles, the engine goes out. Someone made fun of me because I posted a picture of my odometer hitting 300,000 miles. And they said, well, what are you driving? I said, well, it's an old Ford F-150. It's a 2001. They said, oh, have you replaced the engine yet? And I said, no, it runs fine. It no longer runs. And unfortunately, the problem that it has is I believe it's throwing a rod. So that sucks. Anyway, good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Hate Camel. Glad you're here. There's some other people here. If you, I'll shout you out if you just put something in the chat so I know who you are. This is going to be a very short stream. I am, for a lack of a better term today, I am pissed off. And so this is going to be a very short stream because normally I'd be ending at this time and I have to be somewhere at 11 o'clock Central Time. So it's going to be a short stream. And the only thing I'm going to talk about today is what I titled this stream as Black Westboro. Now, if you don't know what Black Westboro is, let me just give you a little synopsis. Oh, I didn't hit this on my Twitter. I am live right now. Come join me. Let me put a link up here so that I can put this out on Twitter. We're live. And there's that. There's a link. I'll tweet that out and yippee. Anyway, if you've been following the saga of the Covington Catholic School from Kentucky that was in Washington, D.C. this weekend, and they had a slight confrontation with a Native American gentleman and a group of people that decided to go into their crowd and beat some drums because they thought they were trying to defuse a situation that really wasn't as bad as the people thought it was. But from their perspective, I do not doubt, and I'm probably not going to be explaining this enough. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But anyway, so it's the biggest news of the week. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. I'm going to explain it later when I have more time. But what's pissing me off is how people are just doubling down on bullshit. I've been arguing with people on Twitter the last couple of days. So basically this is going to be a whole slew of Twitter trends because I've been having just genuinely friendly arguments from people about this, and it's just driving me insane. Also, I wanted to look too. Oh, you know what? Okay, let me make a suggestion. If you are on Twitter and you have not yet hit the little button that says how many, or it says something about check out the new Twitter, do not click that button. Here's what it is. It says, here, I'm going to show you right now. Yes, sir, I do work for UPS. I've been with UPS for quite a long time. It's just a part-time gig I got there. They have one thing that UPS has is they have great benefits for part-time people, and so I started doing that back when I was in the mortgage business. I went from a really big mortgage company where my health insurance was $300 a month to a really small boutique broker that only had 11 employees, so that my insurance went from $300 a month to about $900 a month. And I'm like, you know what? I have a friend who works at UPS, and they get benefits there just for working there a few hours a day. And I made that sacrifice for my family 12 years ago, and I've never regretted it. And in fact, when I left the mortgage business, I got a little burned out on the mortgage business. I'd done it for a long time, and Made great money there, but I just got burned out. I decided to start a business doing basketball training. And so I've been training kids to basketball. I coach in the summer. I coach high school basketball. And it's made a big change in just my personal life as far as my personal health and enjoyment of life. It's a job that I love doing. It's almost not like having a job sometimes. I just love doing it. So, but you working at UPS part-time makes sure is that my family has health insurance, and it's been very good to my family. So cool, Sarah. I see that you say you work there too. Anyway, so back to where I was here. Anyway, don't hit that take a peek at the new Twitter because it messes up where everything is. And also now I was trying to track how many, I was coming up on 10,000 tweets, and there's no longer a counter on here. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's go back into this thing though. Gosh, this whole thing with the Covington Catholic students, and so many people glommed onto the story on Saturday because it was described as though these kids from this school in MAGA hats, and that's the key phrase in the entire story, because a lot of these kids were wearing Make America Great Again hats. And clearly that's something that triggers a lot of people. And the story came out as that these kids in MAGA hats surrounded this elderly Indian gentleman who was just there banging his drum, and they surrounded him, and they were, they are harassing this man and mocking him and, whatever. Turns out the story is very, very different if you watch the raw video. And over the last couple of days, the story has come out that, these kids were there for the Right to Life rally. The indigenous people were there for an indigenous people's rally. And both events had ended. And a group of these indigenous people decided to go to the Lincoln Memorial, and they decided to do a prayer circle. And they were doing this prayer circle. In the meantime, there was this group of a small group, 5 guys, who are known as Black Israelites. Now they are, here's why let's just take the Westboro Baptist Church, okay, change their race and change their setting, and very, very similar, okay. Hey, Johnny Hellcat, how you doing, buddy? I see you there now. They're fire and brimstone, but they are telling you that while these people were in a prayer circle, these guys are yelling across this plaza at them, screaming things like, "You guys deserve to lose your land because you worship buffalo and wolves and stuff like that, and something homosexual is this, and something faggots that," and these guys were just screaming and yelling at these guys and trying to engage them. And some of their people were coming over and trying to engage, and they were kind of arguing back and forth with these guys. So while this is going on, the Covington Catholic School, there is a Catholic school somewhere in Kentucky, the Covington Catholic School kids were at the Right to Life March. And when that march ended, their whole group, they kind of split up, and apparently they were all going to go sightseeing in groups. And what happened is that their instructions were at X time, they were going to all meet at the Washington Monument to wait for their buses. So while the Black Westboro guys, and you know what, do me a favor today, sometime today, you 5 people can help me do this. I want this hashtag trending, Black Westboro. The Black Westboro guys are still yelling at the people, everyone who walks through the plaza. They're just yelling fire and brimstone and quoting Bible verses and telling how the country is going to be, taken in a ball of fire, and you natives over there, you lost your lands because you deserve to lose your land because you weren't worshiping the one true God, and you white people will perish in fire, and blah blah blah. Well, while this is happening, all the kids started gathering on the steps of the Washington Monument because they were going to come and wait for their bus. So different small groups of these kids kept showing up, and a lot of them were wearing MAGA hats because whatever reason that is, they support the president. I don't care about that. Well, as they were gathering on the steps, the black Westboro people began to shout at them also and tell them how rotten of people they are. So this was going on. The kids are just like kind of laughing at them, but they're keeping their distance. The kids aren't getting close to him, although there's this one dude that's not related to any of them, just skateboarding around these guys. He wanted to, they kept yelling at him too. But anyway, so they keep engaging with these kids. These kids are just like kind of laughing at him like, you know, you guys are just nuts. And then they started, you know, talking about how the few black kids, there's a couple black kids in their group, and how those kids were, you know, they should be, you know, get out. They're going to harvest your organs, things like that. And then they started using the N-word stuff, and the kids are just like, whoa, what are you guys doing? So what the kids did, instead of engaging those guys, they started doing like chants like you would do at a football game. They, you know, because, you know, if you've been around a high school football game, there is certain chants that the crowd does without cheerleaders or whatever. So these guys started doing chants, and it was just they were just kind of having fun, and the guys, you know, who were the black Westboro guys were kind of laughing at them a little bit, but still giving them crap. Well, between the kids were on the stairs, the black Westboro guys were on the plaza, and the indigenous group was on the other side of the plaza. Well, all of a sudden, this gentleman, and what's his name? Let's find his name, because he's been getting a lot of attention. Let's see. God, what is his name? Apologize here. Nathan Phillips. So this Nathan Phillips guy, he's the elder. He's a Vietnam vet, and he's one of the indigenous people. He begins to walk around the between the black Westboro guys towards this group of kids who are on these stairs, and he's beating his drum and he's singing a song. Now, in interviews and things like that, he said that he did that because he wanted to de-escalate what he thought was becoming a huge confrontation between the teenagers. The teenagers are just laughing, and the black Westboro guys are just kind of giving him shit, but there's obviously there's not going to be any physical confrontation. These kids aren't interested. You know, they're trying to keep their distance, even though when one of the cheers happened, the one kid came down the stairs, and apparently they have some cheer where the guy rips off his shirt and they do this cheer, and all of them cheer together, and then they all laugh and they go back up on the stairs. Well, Nathan Phillips, this Native American gentleman from the Omaha tribe, comes and starts drumming and goes right into the middle of their group. And he has a bunch of people behind him that are also a couple of guys with drums and a couple other guys singing too, and just starts drumming in the middle of their group. And the kids had just finished a cheer, and they hear the drums, so they start, you know, dancing around to the drums. And some were doing, I mean, some of them kind of saw as Native Americans. Some start doing tomahawk chop shit, which, you know, probably their reaction to that is because anytime their perception is probably when you hear that drums, you're probably thinking of a Braves game or a Kansas City Chiefs games where they hear the tomahawk chop. Some of them are singing along, and you know, if you're watching this from the video that I saw, which was taken by the black Westboro guys, I'm going to call them Black Westboro from now on because that's how they act. They act like Westboro Baptist Church. The one guy is taking video the whole time, this whole hour and a half thing. And this part of it, where the conversation between the kids and the Native Americans lasted maybe 10 minutes out of an hour and 45 video. It's a very small part of the video. Well, the kids are dancing to the drums, and actually, so are the guys behind Nathan Phillips. They're dancing, although there's one guy that's in the crowd of kids trying to argue with one of the kids. And the kids never once, there was some accusations that the kids were chanting "Build the Wall." Never once saw that in video. Accusations that they were saying racial slurs, but never once on video have we found that. And I've watched videos from about 5 different people from all different angles. And anyway, so this Nathan Phillips, as he's drumming, he's goes past one kid who doesn't really look at him. He goes past another kid, but then he sees this kid just kind of looking at him. And the kid's just standing there in one place. And he goes up into this kid, right into his face, and starts pounding the drum about 3 inches from his face and chanting at him. Well, the kid's just standing there smiling, and he's kind of, it kind of looks like a smirk, but he just doesn't know what to do. Okay? And so he decides, he just stands there drumming. So the picture of that you get from the media is when this short, very short, literally, this is for about a minute and a half at most. The kid doesn't move, and the guy is pounding the drum in his face. So there's all kinds of pictures of this Indian guy drumming with the kid looking at his face. Well, the media takes that one picture and says that the kids surrounded this guy, and they're mocking him with this picture of this kid smiling in his face, which the snapshot looks like a smirk and not, like he's being a dickhead, which the kid just stood there. And in fact, when his friend next to him engaged one of the other guys and they're starting to have an argument, the kid turns around and looks at his friend. And he's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. And then he goes back to just watching the guy drum in front of him. Now so for about a minute and a half or so, the Native Americans are drumming and doing this stuff. And then then they just kind of go away. And then the Black Israelites, aka Black Westboro, goes back to engaging these guys again, just saying stuff to him, whatever. And that goes on for a little while. And then all of a sudden, there's some kind of an announcement that the buses are here, and all the kids cheer and like, yay, we can finally get away from this, because they were supposed to stay there and wait until their whole group gets there, and then the buses came and they left. So if you've been reading about this, you know that online and all the media decides that these kids are the devil. Now, what's pissing me off right now? Well, let me get in here. Here's what you get for the article. CNN, their tweet. And this is still from yesterday when we know that the story's starting to get different as we see the videos. Video shows a crowd of teenagers wearing Make America Great Again hats taunting a Native American elder after Friday's Indigenous People March at the Lincoln Memorial. Now, that's the tweet. Now, there's an article here, and I'm sure the article has had some changes, but that's the tweet they get. So, naturally, Twitter went nuts. And there's people, because there's 16 and 15, 14-year-old kids. People are talking about, well, we need to get that kid's name and number, and we're going to dox them. Well, they didn't use the word dox, but they started calling the school. They started calling the school district. They find out who these kids are. They're starting to call their parents' jobs. Twitter, it's a Twitter rage storm. Meanwhile, as I'm on Twitter most of the day, yesterday, I didn't even really start seeing about this till yesterday. But I just got to get this. For example, here's one of the threads of a kid, they're advocating violence. This Will Leach. Every single one of these kids was once, pretty recently, a baby who didn't know anything about anything in the world they were entering. This is the world given to them. Also, I want to punch all of them. They really need to be punched. Wow. Then apparently he was getting some pushback. So, getting some pushback on the punching thing here. I'm not punching anyone. I do not encourage punching. But if either one of my sons ever acted anywhere close to this, if someone punched him in the nose, the level of sympathy they would get from their father is 0. Well, you're a shitty father if that's really what you believe. And you know what? Oh, wait. What do you say? Getting pushback on punching thing here. I'm not punching anyone. I do not encourage punching. Let's read your words, dude. Every single one of these kids, blah, blah, blah. This is the world given them. Also, I want to punch all of them. They really need to be punched. I am not encouraging punching. They really need to be punched. I'm not encouraging punching. They really need to punch. You piece of shit. I am just, I'm mad. I told you I'm mad. I wish I had more time because I'm going to go off. Maybe I'll spend some time on this tomorrow, or maybe I'm just going to make a video because I watched the feed, the whole entire hour and a half, or hour 45 minutes feed, and, video that the guy from the Black Israelites took. And the reason I'm focusing on them is you wouldn't believe some of the shit they were saying. And then that's what I'm going to focus on tomorrow because it's just insane. Let's go look at a couple more of these that I encountered. I wrote here, wow, check this thread starting with this guy. Lots of people advocating violence against these kids based on something that wasn't a confrontation compared to the big picture. Then watch the video. Interesting selective editing by the media. And that's exactly what it was, And here's my theory. Because just this last week, when the BuzzFeed put out an article stating that, what's his name? The Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen. They said Trump told Michael Cohen to lie. And then the Mueller investigation said, wait a minute, that didn't happen. That's inaccurate. And the media had egg on its face completely all Friday. This particular thing right here is a distraction from their other screw up. But guess what? This is a screw up too. They are just, the media is just having a really shitty day. It's amazing. What? I refreshed my YouTube feed 4 times and they wouldn't give me this stream. Are you back now? Tarketta? How you doing, Tarketta? It seems like you're in the chat. Are you good now? I'm wondering if they flagged my stream for the title. Nope, it looks like I still have it. Well, anyway, I don't want an inception here. I just found it, getting mad. Okay. Yeah, make sure you follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @PDogDiet. I'll try to put a link in that from now on. I don't know if what's going on with YouTube, and being a small channel, I have no way to find out unless someone tells me in the chat. So moving on though, all kinds of crap. I truly believe that I don't doubt that this Elder Phillips, his intention might have been to redirect the attention of the kids, but I don't believe that he necessarily was trying to diffuse things, because why would you when you're trying to diffuse something, would you go into a middle of a crowd of 60 kids and start beating drums, and especially beating drum in one kid's face? Here's what I think. I think they maybe thought that might be part of it, but they saw the kids in MAGA hats and like, you know what? It would be a great video if we could find some way to provoke these kids. It'd be great if we went up in there, because all the people behind him, there's a couple of drums, other people chanting that were behind him, and no one even talks that he didn't go there alone. They make it sound like he was all by himself in the wilderness, and all of a sudden he was surrounded by 100 kids. That's not how it happened. The kids were on the stairs. He and his group, he was walking towards them, and a bunch of his group was walking behind them, a couple with drums, and the rest all with cameras in their hand, just waiting to be able to get their viral moment, which they got anyway. But how do you diffuse something by going and drumming in some kid's face? And the kid, you know what? And then people are saying, well, why didn't the kid back up? The kid should have got out of his way. The kid should have done this. The kid could have done that. The kid didn't know what to do. He's just standing there looking at him. Anyway, but like I said, after watching the video and film, I'm pretty sure the adults beating the drums had the intention of redirection. The kids didn't get it. But that was not a confrontation. But the real confrontation was between the damn Black Westboro guys, who were just berating the Native American guys. They're berating everyone who was coming through. They're just a real weird cultish type group, but nobody wants to talk about them. Everyone's afraid to talk about them. The news doesn't mention them. What the media said is the white MAGA hat wearing kids were harassing a small group of black activists. It was completely the other way around. So anyway, and Sarah, you know what? I just read your chat there. This is the first time the chief isn't the first time that Phillips has done something like this. That's absolutely correct. He is an activist. He creates situations. So anyway, so just some of the comments that I've gotten. You know, I was talking about how here's my point. I'm looking at some of these people. Covenant Catholic student bothering an elder man, yet there's evidence the man approaching them during their school cheer, not disturbing anyone. And that is the truth. The Native American dude approached them. The kids did not go near him. They didn't harass or scream or intimidate by getting in any of their faces. Wow. And so I said, you know, an adult approached them, beating a drum and chanting at the top of his lungs directly into the face of a kid who did not approach him. You don't think that was an attempt at intimidation? Which I thought it was. It's an adult trying to intimidate a 16-year-old kid, or trying to get a 16-year-old kid to react. The kid refused to react. He just stood there smiling, which was probably the best thing he could have done, you know? And so this lady named Cora says, intimidation? What exactly was a man in his 70s or 80s going to do? Well, he's drumming in their face, whatever. He wasn't alone, and then after you watch the full video of the group, like, you can see the man's attention were to direct to kids, but the kids responded by laughing and dancing with the Native Americans behind the man, because the guys behind Phillips were all dancing too, so everyone was dancing. It was everyone was laughing and dancing. But then you get this one little snapshot of him in the face of this kid, with the kids kind of smiling at him, and they're calling it a stare down. It wasn't even a stare down. The kid was just smiling, trying not to react. He was clearly trying not to react. Anyway, you know, that lasted less than 2 minutes out of almost 2 hours of video. It's just crazy. So this woman finally concedes. Yeah, the black Israelite group, aka Black Westboro, was being as obnoxious as fuck. That had nothing to do with how the old man was mocked and jeered at. The old man was not mocked and jeered at. That's just it. They were dancing along with the drums. They were, trying to chant along, and they were just having fun. They weren't doing anything. The only thing questionable they did is a couple more doing a tomahawk chop, which they're 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. Their only interaction is probably through watching sporting events, especially if they live in Kentucky, which is in the ACC, where Florida State is. If they ever have a Kentucky-Florida State game, tomahawk chop. That's the big thing at Florida State. And the Seminoles down there don't mind, because the Seminoles are very proud of their association with Florida State. Anyway, so, oh my gosh. And then, my friend Michael Rowlands, and I call him my friend only because he and I have a frenemy relationship. We get on each other's nerves because we don't agree on anything, but we have a fairly friendly relationship on Twitter. And the greatest thing that I think I've ever read, Michael Rowlands, buddy. This issue isn't disrespecting your elders. It's kids wear a symbol of white supremacy to an indigenous people's march. Dancing around an old guy holding a racist sign. Oh my God. Is that picture up here? Now, watch this. Look at this video. Let's talk about someone harassing an old man. Oh, that's assault, girl! My goodness! Now, that was at the Kavanaugh, during the Kavanaugh hearings and the protests outside, and this old guy, who's also a military vet, was being danced around and mocked. No, I've never heard about this case, but here it is, mocked by these two lovely people, and she assaulted him. But my goodness, we never heard anything about that. So anyway, then the other thing, I gotta find this because it's hilarious. So I said the kids weren't at and this is the case, the kids never went to the Indigenous Peoples March. They were at the Right to Life March. The Indigenous People March was in another part of town. Both events ended, and the students came to the monument to wait for the buses. The hats had nothing to do with the incident except for why it blew up in the media, because the only reason media cares about this is they were wearing MAGA hats. If they didn't have MAGA hats, if it was a group of black kids or any group from any other school that had nothing to do with Make America Again, I guarantee you would never have heard about this incident, even if it happened the same exact way. So anyway, I said that's the only reason the incident blew up in the media. Mike tells me, I don't care. They were wearing MAGA hats, symbol of white supremacy. He misspelled that. He probably had to autocorrect, whatever. White supremacy. They can get fucked. And I said, Mike, you may want to stick with that and stay away from the details. It's all you've really got. Because he keeps getting all the details wrong. All he keeps saying, MAGA hats, white supremacy, MAGA hat, white supremacy. Whatever. I always love how white liberals try to tell me, a black man, what racism and white supremacy is. Yeah, right on. Anyway, and I said, yeah, you should stick with the details. And he said, the details being racist. I got to find the other thing he wrote that I just cracked up at, though. And let me see here. I got to find it. Oh, here we go. Oh, man, it's racist. Oh, my God, where did he put it? I'll find it here shortly. Well, I don't care. They were wearing MAGA hats, civil white supremacy, they get fucked. Details being racist. Oh, it must have been a lot earlier. Anyway, he said something about racist hats. And it's something I'll find that. I'll bring that up tomorrow because I almost have to be done here. Anyway, so unfortunately, because I have to go today and I was running late thanks to our vehicle situation, I'm gonna have to end my stream early today. Thanks for those of you who are here. I mean, let's real quick though. I'm gonna just oh my gosh, I have 7 new people watching and a new subscriber, so that's awesome. I'm glad to see that. But for those of you in the chat, normally I'm going to start after today, since I don't have time. I start going to just do a little interaction in the chat and be able to talk with you guys tomorrow. But I do want to thank those of you who've made a comment. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe right now. There's a little subscribe button down there. And the best thing you can do for me anytime I do a stream, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click the share button. The share button, let's see, can I see it from here? I don't know, you won't be able to see me to do this. But the share button's right, I'm looking at the wrong screen. I'm looking at my screen. Anyway, hit the share button, share this with people you know, and if you see, and follow me on Twitter. I will always announce when I'm streaming on Twitter, and if you will retweet that, that would be fantastic. I'm still a very small channel, just over 100 subscribers. In fact, let's do me a favor. Let's see if we can help me get to 200 this week. I'll try to make the stream fun, and I just went Inception on you again. I apologize. Here, let's do... I need a producer, but I'm too small to have a producer. Whoa, that's the wrong one. Hey, there I am. Okay, so, yeah, please share my streams. That would be great. And I'm going to have some guests later this week, so I'm looking forward to that. So, again, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming. My name is Marty Johnson, a.k.a. P-Dog Knight. That's what everyone knows me as. And I am out of here.